Welcome, everyone, to our class where we will review formal and informal English side by side. And we're doing this live so you can ask questions as we go along. Welcome, everyone. Let's review our first phrase. So you'll see there's the formal and the informal. The meaning is exactly the same, simply using different words. And you can take any idea in English, the simplest or the most complex, and there's different ways of communicating that. When you use formal or informal, it depends on many things: the context, the situation, your relationships, your personality as well. The formal is I'd appreciate an update when possible. I'd appreciate. So let's compare some differences side by side. So notice here, I'd appreciate. I'd appreciate something. The something is an update. I'd is the contraction of I would. Now, notice the difference here because you might think, oh, wow, Jennifer used a contraction in the formal. That's because formal language still has to reflect natural English. Native speakers use contractions 95% of the time. We don't change contractions based on formal or informal. So if you say, I would appreciate, it doesn't necessarily sound more formal. It can sound more unnatural. I'd appreciate an update when possible, compared to send me. So notice the sentence structure. You're making a polite request with I'd appreciate. With send me, you're making a direct request because you're using the imperative. Send me an update when you can. So the informal is more direct. The formal is more indirect. So that's another way that we express formality, by being more indirect. Let's keep going. I'm reaching out. So here, our phrasal verb is to reach out and then to do something, to see if there are any updates. So this is the reason why you're calling someone or texting someone. I'm reaching out to see if there are any updates. I'm reaching out. So it's in the present continuous because I'm doing this now. I'm reaching out to see if there are any updates. Now, informal would be any updates on this? And again, it's direct, it's to the point, it saves time. Any updates on this? So I could send this in a text message. I could call someone as well. Any updates on this? All right. And sure, I'll be informal to you. Absolutely. Hello, welcome. Send me is like an order. Exactly. It's a direction, but that doesn't make it rude. For example, I can say to you, share a comment or share an example in the comments. I just used the imperative. I'm not being direct in the sense of I'm ordering or I'm commanding you like an army sergeant. Is just the way that we would make that request. That's what the imperative is for. Share a comment, share an example using the imperative, for example. Okay, let's keep going. Please let me know when you have a chance to review it. Please let me know. So notice in the informal, simply get rid of please. Let me know when you can take a look at it. So when you have a chance to review it, when you can. So have a chance is replaced with can. Have a chance, can. Take a look, review. So in the formal, review. In the informal, take a look. Now notice, you review something. That's why we have review it. And you take a look at something. You take a look at the report or the presentation, for example. So take a look at something. Take is your verb. Look is a noun. A look, it's a thing. Take a look at it. Let me know when you can take a look at it. Please let me know when you have a chance to review it. So, again, the formal is more indirect, and the informal is more direct in the approach. Let's try another one here. And Alexander said, I'd like to know if there are any updates. Exactly. I'd like to know if there are any updates. To me, this sounds more informal in a positive way. It's direct. I'd like to know. And if there are any updates, this sounds very natural. Great job. Okay, formal. Would it be all right if I left early today? Would it be all right? Would it be all right if I left early today? So you would ask your supervisor. You could even ask another coworker who isn't your supervisor, but if you're working on a joint project, maybe you still do that out of respect. Or you ask your teacher, for example, would it be all right if I left early today? Now, notice here our past simple. If I did something, would it be all right if I left early today? The informal, is it okay? Is it okay? Would it be all right? Conditional. If I, past simple. Is it okay if I do something? So the sentence structures are quite different. Is it okay if I leave early today? So would it be all right? Is it okay? Formal, informal. Would it be all right if I left? The past simple. Now, early today is the same in both. So in many sentences, you may make certain changes to a word or a sentence structure, but many other words will be the same. Is it okay if I leave early today? Would you mind? Yeah, that would be in the more formal category. Would you mind if I left 1 hour early today? Yeah, you just need the subject there. Would you mind if I left 1 hour early today? Yeah, this works. Would you mind me leaving early today? So, would you mind someone doing something? Would you mind me leaving early today? I would say, although grammatical, it's not the most common sentence structure that a native speaker would use. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, let's try greetings to Spain as well. Let's try this one. Would you mind? So here, would it be all right? Now, would you mind? Would you mind if I did something? So past simple, because it's conditional. Would you mind if I shared this? Maybe it's the report, for example. Would you mind if I shared this with the team? So it could be a report, it could be a presentation, it could be statistics. Would you mind if I shared this with the team? Maybe it's even a decision that was made or a conversation that was had. Would you mind if I shared this with the team? Now, informal, can I? Would you mind? Can I? Now, you hopefully know the sentence structure of can. Can I do something? Can I share this with the team? Can I share this with the team? Yeah, exactly. Would you mind speaking louder? I'm going to assume this isn't actually a request for me. Would you mind speaking louder? Exactly. Can you speak louder? So, this is a good exercise that you can do. You can take one of these, don't look at the other, and take the formal and see if you can change it to informal. And then take the informal and change it to formal, like I just did with this comment. Would you mind speaking louder? The informal is can you? Can you speak louder? Okay, so try this. If this is the formal, would you mind if I shared these notes with the team? The informal would be Can I share these notes with the team? So you can use could as a replacement to can. Could I share this with the team? I don't think it necessarily becomes overly formal. It becomes slightly more, though. When you use could with can, it does sound more polite. May is not used in that context. Adults do not use may with polite requests. May I share this with the team? It's not common in American English. Only children use may with authority figures like parents and teachers for polite requests, but adults do not. We use may to suggest possibility. It may rain today. It may rain today, but we don't use it for polite requests. But could, absolutely. Yeah. Can I share this with the team? You got it. Woohoo! Greetings to Australia. It must be late at night, I'm thinking. I'm not sure. For me, it's 8:12 a.m. Okay, how about this? Well, how about this? How about you like this lesson? Subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson and put yes, 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 put yes, yes, yes in the comments. And notice I just expressed that as a request, not in an instruction. I said put yes, yes, yes in the comments because that's the imperative verb tense, which we use for instructions. Put yes, yes, yes in the comments. And I'm so glad you love it. That makes me very happy. Woohoo. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And everyone, I also have this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can find the link in the description or go to my website and download it. And I just said, go to my website. It's an instruction. Go to my website and download it for free. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Now, also, if you want to keep learning these natural sentences, if you want my personal review, my correction, and work directly with me, you can get that in the Finally Fluent Academy, a full program to help you understand real English and sound fluent in as little as 90 days. You can find the link in the description or just go to my website, of course. Now, let's keep going. Would it be possible? Would it be possible for Sarah? So, would it be possible for someone to do something? Whenever you see a sentence, that's what I recommend. Try to understand the sentence structure so you can make changes. So, would it be possible plus for plus someone plus infinitive, to do plus noun, something. Okay. And then you can easily change the information, just like when you have a mathematical formula. You know what to do and you can change the numbers, but the formula still works. So you can treat these like mathematical formulas in that regard. And woohoo, so glad everyone is enjoying the lesson. That makes me very happy. Now, we already talked about this, but would it be possible? You can replace that with can. Can. And yes, you can sound slightly more polite by replacing it with could. Could. Could Sarah? Could someone? Can someone do? So notice we have the infinitive to join in the formal, but we just have join. So we have the base verb. Can Sarah join the meeting? Can Sarah join the meeting? Would it be possible for Sarah to join the meeting? So remember, formal is often indirect. Informal is more direct. Can Sarah join the meeting? Would it be possible for someone, for HR, to do something, to join the meeting? Excellent job. Could Sarah join the meeting? Very nicely done. So remember, can, could plus base verb because they're modals. Modal plus base verb. See, this just sounds unnatural. May I inquire? No, a native speaker wouldn't say that. May I inquire if it would be possible? Just would it be possible? Yeah, I don't recommend that. Good try, Alexander, but I don't recommend that. It doesn't sound formal, it sounds unnatural. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, here's one more I'll just share. Would it be possible for Sarah? Remember, using our mathematical formula, you can just replace to join with a different infinitive, to work with us, because you work with someone. Would it be possible for Sarah to work with us? I know she's on this other project, but we really need another team member. So would it be possible? Absolutely. Well done. I like that. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. Let's keep going. Was this a yes, this is the new one. Okay. Do we have approval to extend the contract? So extend is you make something longer. Now, the contract is the something. So make the contract longer. If the contract was supposed to end on June 15th, well, extending it could be to June 16th. I mean, it's possible. Or it could be till July 16th. Or it could be till June 2027. So it can be a small amount or a long amount, but it's making something longer. Do we have approval to do something? Can we do something? Can we extend the contract? Can we extend the contract? So again, you're seeing lots of different ways to express a formal idea. Informal, you're either going to say it directly as the imperative, or you're just going to ask a simple question with can. Can we extend the contract? I like this. Yes, and you can always use an idiom or expression. So this one is to have the green light to do something. So if you're driving and you see a red light, what will you do? Stop. If it's a green light, you're going to go. So to continue, to go ahead, that's the green light. It's safe to proceed. So if you have a green light, it represents approval. Do we have the green light to extend the contract? Very nicely done. Idioms and expressions often sound slightly more informal, but when I use informal, for me, that's positive because that's how native speakers use English. So it sounds more natural to me. Do we have approval from someone? Nicely done. Do we have approval from the company, from the manager, from HR, from George to do something? Very nicely done. Oh, this is a nice way of asking. So in this way, this changes the question because can we extend the contract? You're asking for approval. This is a different question. Has the contract extension been approved? So in this case, in this sentence, this question, it assumes that approval has been given, but now you want to know if the actual task has been completed. So the question is not a change of this. It's a completely different question, but I like it. Nice question. What's the issue with this sentence? Everyone, let's help culinary nerd improve this sentence. What's the issue? Did we got the sign off for the project? There's an issue here, but I really like parts of this sentence, so let's just improve it. Did we? What do we need to do? So did is your auxiliary verb that's conjugated in the past simple. So because that is already in the past simple, Your verb, your main verb, is not in the past simple as well. It's simply the base verb, like everyone said here. Did we get the sign off? I lost the comment. But did we get the sign off for the project? Now, sign off is in the past and still now, people literally sign their name to say, I approve. So imagine someone just puts this, oh, I need your sign off. Okay, I sign it. And then they have my approval and then they go and extend the contract. So that's what sign off means. Okay. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. Let's keep going. How about this one? To confirm, this is due by Friday. To confirm. So notice, you're stating this as a statement. This is due by Friday. That's a statement. So if someone asks me, Jennifer, when is this due? This is due by Friday. I'm stating it as fact. But here I'm saying to confirm, to confirm. To confirm, which means that someone already suggested this, and I just want to make sure my understanding is correct. To confirm, this is due by Friday. Now, informal, this is due by Friday, right? So notice, statement, this is due by Friday, but I'm using the word right with a rising intonation to suggest that I want your confirmation. And that's why right is a replacement to confirm. So you might even say to me, Jennifer, I need to use the present simple in this sentence, right? So you state it as a statement, but then you add right. And because you add right with a rising intonation, I know that you want me to confirm and say, yes, your understanding is correct. Or yes, you need the present simple. Yes, that's correct. This is due by Friday, right? 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 So there has to be a questioning tone with right. This is due by Friday, right? Right? So make sure you get that correct tone as well. Yeah, you could add just checking at the very beginning. Just checking. This is due by Friday, right? You could also say, this is due by Friday, isn't it? You could say that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Just a reminder, the deadline is this Friday. Absolutely. So when you say just a reminder, it would be you telling someone else and you know that the deadline is Friday. So absolutely, this is great. In my examples, you want confirmation. Let's keep going. Is my understanding correct? I think I actually used this in one of my examples. I said something and I just want to make sure my understanding is correct. So, my understanding, this is a noun, it's a thing. It's not the verb I understand. Because, as you may know, the verb understand isn't in the ing form generally. So I wouldn't say, is she understanding the instruction? I would say, do you understand? Or does she understand the instruction? But in this case, understanding is a noun. Is my understanding correct? So my understanding as a noun means how I understand the situation or how I understand the instructions. That's my understanding. We use this a lot, to be honest. Even though this is in the formal section, and native speakers generally don't use formal language in our day to day. However, it's very common to say, my understanding is, My understanding is, and then the rest of the sentence. Now, this is in a question form. Is my understanding correct? So, how would I use this? I might say something like, we need to extend the contract by 3 weeks. Is my understanding correct? So, I may tell you what I think I need to do and then get confirmation from you. Is my understanding correct? Did I get that right? Did I get it right? And it being the fact we need to extend the contract by 3 weeks. Did I understand that correctly? Exactly. That sounds good. Did I understand that correctly? I would say that would be a replacement in the formal section. Did I understand that correctly? Because get is a casual, informal way as a replacement to inform or to understand. Did I get it right? So in this case, get is understand. Did I understand it correctly? Did I get it right? Yeah, exactly. Did I understand it correctly? Very nice. Well, remember that the purpose of a verb tense, so you're asking if you can use do. The purpose of a verb tense is to tell you the time reference and potentially the subject. But do is for a routine action. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a conversation that happened maybe 5 minutes ago, maybe yesterday, maybe last week. So the situation is in the past. So even if your boss just told you an instruction and you repeat it, it still was in the past, even if it were only 1 minute ago. So, no, you cannot use the present simple because it's not a routine. You want the past simple. Hello, we had another student from Spain. Am I getting this right? You could say that. How about this? Please correct me if I misunderstood anything. So maybe you're confirming your tasks. You're confirming the plan. Okay, first, I will extend the contract by 3 weeks. Then I will send the updated contract to HR. And then I will meet with the team to discuss the implications and the next steps. Please correct me if I misunderstood anything. And then they might say, oh, well, you need to first get approval from HR before you extend the contract. Oh, okay. Noted. Now, informal, let me know if I got anything wrong. So please correct me. Let me know. If I misunderstood, if I got. So past simple, past simple. So misunderstood, the word miss represents incorrectly. So wrong is already expressed in misunderstood. But in this sentence, you need the word wrong because that isn't represented in the word got. Let me know if I got anything wrong. And anything represents the details, the instructions, the tasks. All right. How about this one? Could you please repeat that? Of course. Something that you say a lot potentially. Could you please repeat that? That sounds very formal. I would rarely say this to anyone. And native speakers use this all the time. I mean, maybe I'm talking to someone and the connection is bad. There's a lot of background noise. I wasn't really paying attention. They were talking, but I was lost in thought or taking some notes. There could be so many reasons why someone would say this. This is not exclusive to a a listening issue because of your fluency skills. But native speakers rarely would say, "Could you please repeat that?" We might say, "Can you say that again? Can you say that again? Can you say that again?" Once more, please. Potentially depends on context. So let's say someone's telling you the date or a long series of numbers. Maybe it's a phone number, maybe it's a product number, and they're saying 63LJ capital R. Once more, please. Now, in that context, it's obvious that you want them to repeat the number. But if I just spoke for 3 minutes and then you say once more, please, I might be a little confused. Like, well, what do you mean? Do you want me to repeat literally everything I just said? So you can see that if someone said something very specific, the phone number, the product number, the name of the client, the name of the company, and you just want that one piece of information, then it would make sense. Otherwise, I don't think it would be very natural for someone to say that. How about this? Would you mind speaking slower? Would you mind speaking slower? I would say this is probably related to non native speakers. Native speakers often don't hear things because of the reasons I already explained. It would not be very common for a native speaker to require someone to slow down. But would you mind speaking slower? There's nothing wrong with it. You can absolutely say that. Can you slow down a bit? Would be how a native speaker would ask that. Can you slow down a bit? I would say the one time where native speakers use this with other native speakers is with teenagers. Teenagers tend to talk very quickly. Stereotypically, teenage girls tend to talk quicker than teenage boys because they're still developing their communication skills. And they often, teenagers can have so many ideas in their head and they just try to get them out all at once. And they haven't learned the skill of dividing their ideas or sharing things in a more easy to understand way. So that might be the one time that a native speaker would ask another native speaker to slow down. But can you slow down a bit? That would be how a native speaker would say it. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't understand that. I'm sorry. I didn't understand that. It's a very standard thing. Sorry, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. So, catch is a replacement for understand. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Now, catch, though, means not an exact replacement to understand because catch could be because there was a lot of background noise. So it's not that I heard the information but don't understand it, is that maybe I didn't even hear the information. So I would say they're not a direct replacement. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that would likely be the direct replacement to sorry, I didn't catch that. And then notice here, I'm sorry, but in the informal, it's just sorry. So in the informal, we often drop subjects and auxiliary verbs, especially if it's obvious without it. So if you can easily understand the idea without it, native speakers will drop it in a more informal way. I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Sorry, I didn't catch that. What was that is very native. What was that? Can you slow down a bit? What was that? So, what was that means, what did you say? What was that? So, if my friend is telling me about a new store she went to, and she says the name of the store or where the store is located or what she bought at the store, and I say, "What was that?" She would repeat one of those things that she just said. Okay, could you explain that one more time? Could you explain that one more time? So could, and then the informal can. We talked about this before. Replacing can with could sounds slightly more polite, slightly more formal. Could you explain that one more time? Can you go over that again? So you explain something. To go over something means you provide the details, you provide the information. So it can be similar to the verb explain. Could you explain that? Could you go over that? Now, one more time, we're taking those three words and we're replacing it with again. So in a English class, I might say, let's review that one more time. Let's practice that one more time. Let's review that again. Let's practice that again. How about this? Would you mind? Now, here, would you mind doing something? So we need our gerund verb. Would you mind repeating the company name? So here, if you want to use repeating, you can use would you mind repeating that? If you say that, it would represent the entire conversation or the entire idea that the person just said. Now, here is just something very specific. Would you mind repeating the company name? Would you mind repeating the product number? Would you mind repeating the contract due date? So you can have something very specific. Now, here, what was the company name again? This is very commonly used by natives. What was information, the company name? And I'm saying again to suggest that I know you already said it, but I forget it, or I didn't hear it fully the first time. One of those. I'm sure you've been in a situation where your friend just tells you something and a minute later you forget. You forget the name of the restaurant, you forget the name of the person she was talking about. So you would say, what was the restaurant name again? What was your friend's name again? What was something again? What was that again? And if you don't want to use the company name, just like I said, would you mind repeating that? You could say, what was that? What was that again? But that would need to be obvious. Yeah. So would you mind repeating the street name? Would you mind repeating the street name? What was the street name again? What was the street name again? Now, it sounds more natural to use again. If you say, what was the street name? That's fine. It's still, your friend will still give you the street name. It sounds more natural with again. What was the street name again? But you have to keep again in that end position. So don't say, what was again the street name? Again, what was the street name? Don't change the order. What was the street name again? What was the company name again? What was the product number again? Now, was, because everything we've identified is singular. If it's plural, then you would change it to were. What were those products again? What were those products again? So your friend mentioned two or more products. What were those products again? Yeah, you could say, I didn't catch the company name. Could you repeat it, please? Yeah. Could you tell me the company name one more time? Could you tell me the company name one more time? Yep, you can absolutely say that. Well done. How about this? I'm currently working on another priority. So maybe if your boss or coworker asks you to help them with the presentation and you want to say no, maybe this is your reason why. I'm currently working on another priority. So unfortunately, I can't help you. I'm currently working on another priority. So you work on something. That's why we have the preposition on. Our verb is in the present continuous because it's taking place now. I'm currently working on, even without the word currently, I'm working on another priority simply because it's in the present continuous. You know that is taking place now. Currently is a formal way of saying right now or just now. I'm working on another priority now, right now. I'm currently working on another priority. Now, an informal way, perhaps you could say, I'm tied up with something else right now. So, tied up, the sentence structure is to be tied up with something. So, I'm tied up with the presentation. I'm tied up with the contract extension. And tied up means busy. So if you're working on another priority, you could assume that the person is busy. So I'm tied up, I'm busy. My time is already allocated to this specific task. Now, because of that, I'm busy. I'm tied up with something else right now. So another priority sounds quite formal. Something else is just an everyday way of saying it. I'm tied up with something else right now. Let's keep going. My schedule is full today. My schedule is full today. Full being because you have a schedule, whether it's electronic or paper. And if it's full, it means that the available slots are occupied. So that's the sense of full. When you look at your schedule, you see task, 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 appointment, appointment, task. So there isn't a lot of available time. My schedule is full today. My schedule. Now, schedule represents the things that you are doing today. You could also say calendar. Yeah, my calendar is full today. My schedule is full today. I would say you can use calendar and schedule interchangeably in this context. Now, informal, you could just say, I'm pretty busy today. If your schedule is full, then the result of that is I'm pretty busy today. And pretty is an informal word. I'm pretty busy today. So it intensifies busy. You could also say swamped, which is an idiom to be swamped. I'm swamped today. So it has a non literal meaning. It means pretty busy. I'm pretty busy today. I'm swamped today. My schedule is full today. I have a lot on my plate. Yes, that's an idiom to mean busy. I wouldn't use occupied. See, there's a difference between using formal language and using unnatural word choices. So, yes, the word occupied sounds quite formal, but it's incorrect in this context. Your calendar is not occupied. Your calendar is full, full of tasks and full of appointments. Yeah, this is great. I am working on another project, so my schedule is full today. Yeah. Formal. I'll review this as soon as I'm available. So I will do something. So it's in the future, it's the future simple. I'll review this as soon as I'm available. Now, I'm available, you can replace that with I can. As soon as I can. As soon as I can. As soon as I can. And instead of review, you can use look at. So notice you review something, you look at something. So you need the preposition at. I'll look at this as soon as I can. I'll look at this as soon as I can. Now, maybe it's a presentation, maybe it's the contract extension, maybe it's a job posting. And if you review it, it means you literally have a document and you're going to review it, provide your comments, provide your revisions, or you're going to sign off on it, which means you're going to approve it. You're going to sign it and say, approved. And then so people can progress on to the next task. I'll review this as soon as I'm available. I'll look at this as soon as I can. Yeah, and you can use ASAP as soon as possible. So you can write out as soon as possible, and you can absolutely turn that into the abbreviation ASAP, ASAP. Both of them are possible. ASAP, ASAP. How about this? I have a few urgent tasks to complete first. I have a few urgent tasks to complete first. So this could be if someone asks you to review something, maybe you say, I'll review this as soon as I'm available. I have a few urgent tasks to complete first. So now they understand why you're not reviewing it now, because you have a few urgent tasks to complete first. Now, that's a more formal way of expressing it. You can say, I've got. So I have, you can replace it with I have got. But have is in the contracted form because got is your main verb. I've got a few things. So instead of urgent tasks, even I have a few tasks, even if you just don't even have the adjective urgent, things sounds more informal than tasks. I have a few important things, urgent things, or simply things to finish first. So finish is a more everyday way of saying complete. I've got a few things to finish first. I have a few urgent tasks to complete first. How about this? Could you give me a moment to verify that? So if you're on a phone call, you're in a meeting, and someone asks, oh, Jennifer, when is the contract? When is the new contract date? And then you don't know, or you're not sure if it's been approved, or was it approved for 2 weeks or 3 weeks? You don't know. So you say, could you give me a moment to verify that? And then you're going to look at a document, or you're going to message HR and get the correct information. So you don't provide incorrect information. Could you give me a moment to verify that? Now, give me a second to check that. So could you give me? Simply direct, give me. Give me a second. Second is more informal than moment. Even more informal would be shortening it to sec. Give me a sec to check that. So sec, natives commonly take second and shorten it to sec. 1 sec, 1 sec. I'll be there in a sec. I'll be there in a second, which of course means a short amount of time. Give me a second to check that. So, check is a more informal way of saying verify. So, if you check, it means that you review something, you confirm, you get the correct information. Give me a second to check that. Could you give me a moment to verify that? So, in the first one, it's asked as a question. And in the second one, it's a statement. Give me a second to check that. You're not asking for permission. Yeah, I like this. Hold on a second. I'll check that. So I'll check that. You're just confirming that you will do it right now. Hold on a second. I'll check that. Hold on a sec. I have to check that. I like that as well. How about this? Would you mind waiting while I confirm the details? So this could be someone's on the phone and then you're going to put them on hold and then you're going to go get the information and come back. Or maybe you're going to actually leave the room. If you're in a meeting, a physical meeting, and you have to go walk over to the HR desk to get that information, you physically leave the room and then you come back. So there's some situation where the people are waiting. Would you mind waiting while I confirm the details? Can you wait while I confirm the details? So, can you wait while I confirm the details? How about this? I'll be with you momentarily. Momentarily. The word momentarily sounds quite formal and it's in the future simple. I will be with you. So, be with you means available to meet with you, available to talk to you, available to discuss something. I'll be with you. I'll be with you. So this is something that if you walk up to a counter and someone's there, they might say, "I'll be with you momentarily," because maybe they have to go do something else before they can help you. I'll be right with you. I'll be right with you. This is absolutely what native speakers say most of the time. I'll be right with you. I'll be with you momentarily. That sounds quite formal. I'll be right with you. So using right instead of momentarily, right means in the near future, very soon. And notice the placement here. I'll be right with you. I'll be right with you. I'll be right with you. So you can use this on the phone, in a meeting, or in a service environment. How about this? Please hold on while I pull up your file. So pull up means to make something visible on on a screen. So your computer, your phone, a projection. If you pull something up, you make it visible on a screen. Please hold on. So hold on means wait. Please hold on while I pull up your file. Now, the informal, instead of using please, just drop it. And hang on is a more informal way of saying hold on. So hold on and hang on both mean wait. Hang on is a more casual way of saying that. Hang on while I pull up your file. Everything else is the same because there's no real alternative way of saying pull up. Hang on while I pull up your file. And that's the end of our class, everyone. So you learned a lot of formal expressions, a lot of informal expressions, and you learned a lot of vocabulary as well. So you will definitely need to review this lesson again. And before you leave, make sure you get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. So you can find the link in the description or go to my website to download it. And also, you can join the Finally Fluent Academy if you want to keep learning these expressions. If you want my personal review, I saw a lot of comments practicing the expressions, but I didn't put them on the screen because honestly, most of them were incorrect. And I didn't want to make too many sentences visible that had mistakes because I didn't want other people to think it was correct. But honestly, I would say 80% of the examples I saw in the comments were incorrect. So if you want to actually feel confident using these expressions, well, then you can join the Finally Fluent Academy so you know you're using correct speech. So when you're in that situation, you feel confident sending that text message or having that conversation because you know your English is correct. So you can find the link in the description to enroll. And also make sure you put yes, yes, yes in the comments so I know you like this lesson. And also like it to show your support and subscribe so you're notified every time I go live. And subscribe so you're also notified every time I post a new lesson. And yes, time flies. That's where this expression comes from. Time flies. Yes, time flies. It did go very quickly. You're very welcome. I'm so glad you enjoyed the lesson. Woohoo. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. You're very welcome. All right, everyone, enjoyed the lesson. I will see you in my next one. Bye.